$5,000 in gold versus $5,000 in silver. This is my pencil drawing of Duomo di Milano door. More than 350 hours over 76 days to make it. Time lapse of the moon and Venus behind Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Italian police taking a picture with an air-to-air missile they seized from Neonese gang in 2019. The original patent for the washing machine came into our shop yesterday. We authenticated it. Signed by Madison, Monroe, and Pinckney. The couple found it in their deceased relative's attic. Photographer Adrigue Nigerian took this picture of a young girl just 7 minutes after she survived the blast in Beirut. He captioned it, "Between blood, tears and a lost smile." Barack Obama sitting for the very first ever 3D presidential portrait. A 10-foot crocodile's head was run over by a car in Florida. A veterinarian surgeon did reconstructive surgery to repair the bone on his head, allowing him to live. House cat suffering from myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy, a rare condition that causes muscles to grow excessively large. A 2,000-year-old green serpentine mask that was found at the base of the Pyramid of the Sun, Teotihuacan, Mexico. Uncropped version of the Tank Man photo from the day of the Tiananmen Square massacre, 1989. The shadow casted by Mount Fuji. This is a stack of 32 shots by photographer Fendi Gan over 40 minutes during a lightning storm in Kuala Lumpur, May 2020. In La Plaine, Marseille, France, banks are like this, and it's open to be clear. Nearly 1 billion people have a mental disorder. It's hashtag World Mental Health Day. Close to 1 billion people have hashtag mental health disorder. Despite the magnitude of mental ill health, relatively few people around the world have access to quality mental health services. Weirdly modern looking Roman mosaic of women exercising with free weights 1700 years old. The Battle of Ismailia Monument in Ismailia, Egypt. A concrete monument in the form of an AK-47 with bayonet, a gift from North Korea to Egypt commemorating the casualties of the Battle of Ismailia in which North Korea allied with Egypt against Israel during the Yom Kippur War. Cloud looks like a tsunami. This hourglass was installed in 1982. It hasn't finished flowing yet, and it will probably finish in another 20 years. This 5,000-year-old prosthetic I found near Zabul in Iran is the oldest in history. It was made from tar and animal fat and painted gold. The wearer was a 6 feet tall priestess. How that perfect wedding photo was captured. Japanese 1 yen coin is so light it won't even break surface tension. Artist Mr. Doodle has spent 2 years covering every square inch of his £1.35 million house in doodles, working his way through 900 litres of emulsion, 401 cans of spray paint, 286 bottles of drawing paint, and 2,296 pen nibs. Abandoned Japanese miniature submarine in the Aleutian Islands, Alaska 1942 and 2021. I just met this guy on the train. United Kingdom. He built this solar stack to power his wheelchair. He just got back from Lisbon and apparently this setup gives him 22 volts, enough to be self-sufficient for 3 weeks. He was ducking fascinating, but I had to get off or miss my stop. This image of a delicate seahorse dragging a mask in the waters off northern Greece has been nominated for the Ocean Photography Award 2021. A 12-million-year-old praying mantis encased in amber. 17 tons of freshly picked Washington apples arriving from an orchard in Yakima. To study the medical effects of weightlessness in space, scientists convinced Captain Drew I.P. Parks to toss a kitten in the air while cruising in his F-94C jet at an altitude of 25,000 feet. The following photo, taken in February 1958, captures the floating feline. Spent a night at the Grand Canyon to take a picture of Milky Way. Before and after Hurricane Ian on Sanibel Island. That's my front yard. After rain view in Japan. That looks like an animation scene. The remains of 76 child sacrifice victims unearthed in Peru, tentatively dating to the first millennium AD, all appear to have had their hearts ripped out. An elephant and her calf wading through water. Hyacinth in Kazaranga National Park. June 13th, 1920, the United States Post Office Department rules that children may not be sent via parcel post. Rome. Visitor throws two Roman statues to the ground in the Vatican Museums. The 5th of October 2022. A Korean news program actually filming on the top of the building instead of using a green screen. A blind Muslim named Muhammad carrying his best friend, a paralyzed Christian who suffers from dwarfism named Sami. Picture taken in Damascus, Ottoman Empire, 1889. Alligator gar found in fence after Hurricane Ian. Insanely realistic balloon animals by Masayoshi Matsumoto. The Hope for Peace Monument in Lebanon, a tower of tanks made to commemorate the Lebanese Civil War. Evolution, Soviet anti-nuclear poster from the 1980s. Giant eagle seen in Brownsville, Texas. This image of a lion taken just prior to it charging at photographer Atif Syed in 2012 in Pakistan. Hungarian students protest for an increase in the salaries of their teachers. The Hollywood sign, right after it was built, 1923. Lake Mead in Nevada. That hill used to be an island. An amazing 40 by 40 inch art piece made entirely out of cigar bands by a prisoner circa 1909. NASA unveils clearest image of Mercury. Bioluminescence and lightning at Emas National Park, Brazil. In Korea, love hotels accompany most major bus and train stations to accommodate quick liaisons, no questions asked. Some even have sex toy vending machines right inside the rooms. Gold swastika amulet, 1st century BCE, found at Sirkap, Taxila, on display at National Museum, New Delhi, India. This non-edited photo of salt mountains in Iran still look beautiful. Harsh journey of Venezuelan refugees to Brazil, which whom are running from Maduro's dictatorship. Neil Armstrong, right after he walked on the moon. 1969. Sailfin lizard from the Philippines. Vasco da Gama Bridge in Lisbon, Portugal, the longest standing bridge in Europe. A picnic at the California Alligator Farm in Los Angeles, where visitors could freely interact with trained alligators from 1907 to 1953. The Dunkley Parameter, launched in 1923, allowed mothers and nannies to effortlessly take baby on a trip around town. Hans Niemann going through chess security at a recent tournament. This is a fungus, Clathris arcari, known as the devil's fingers or octopus stinkhorn. City parking in Chicago, Illinois, 1932. 33W Monroe Street. It is a space-saving elevator garage that could hold up to 48 cars. Oldest animation in world on a ceramic vessel dating back to 5,200 years ago, found in Shah-e-Sukh, Tehran. When vessel is rotated, it shows a goat leaps up to bitter leaf. Hurricane Ian blew the color off of this stop sign. It's a vinyl coating that usually takes a sandblaster to remove. POV. Driving at night with an astigmatism. Despite being stripped of its planet status, Pluto might end up being the most interesting and diverse solid object in the solar system outside of Earth. This is Witold Pilecki. He was a Polish resistance fighter who voluntarily went to Auschwitz to send messages back to the Allies, becoming the first to sound the alarm about the true nature of Nazi Germany's largest concentration and extermination camp. He went on to escape after 2 years. The density of this iceberg causing it to rise dramatically over the water. Swamp rainbow or psychedelic swamp. This incredible photo of a kingfisher diving into the water. Our sun shone in ultraviolet light, where energetic jets and flares can be seen bursting from its surface. These fossil cat paw prints from Miramar, Argentina are larger than any living cat species. The shape and size of the prints indicates that their likeliest maker is the saber-toothed cat Smilodon populator, which was among the largest cats to ever live. It lived in South America up to 11,000 years ago. World's largest digital camera. San Francisco Street, known as the Mushroom Street, in the traditional center of Alicante, Spain. Largest willow oak in the state of Georgia. I helped prune it. My 55-million-year-old megalodon tooth. This nice full-legged robot from Japan capable of holding 4 people. There's a city in Brazil called Santos where buildings are slightly tilted due to bad foundations. Inside a Steinway grand piano. Inscription on the wall from Pompeii's House of Lovers Amantes, Utates, Vitam Mellitum exigant. Like bees, lovers lead a life as sweet as honey. Explosions rock Ukrainian capital Kyiv as Russia begins attacking civilian infrastructure after the destruction of a key bridge in Crimea. Dad lives in Fort Myers, Florida, and will not be traveling anywhere anytime soon. Meteor shower sunstone Australia, from my collection. I don't know if this is allowed, but I've created a sub for people who would like to see / post macro images of minerals of all kinds. I sure think that's interesting as duck. These 5,000 yo balls found in Scotland, called the Towie balls. The Crooked House, Canterbury, built in the 17th century. This is a photo of a robotic fish built by the CIA, named Charlie. It was built to take water samples without being detected by hostile forces. It was never used. Silene stenophylla is a flowering plant that's native to Siberia. Russian scientists discovered seeds of the plant near the bank of the Kolyma River. The seeds were encased in ice and buried under 124 feet of permafrost. Despite that, some of them were found to have viable plant material left. Restoration of a 1930s case knife after a fire. Chimps can lose their hair for a number of reasons, including genetic disorders and alopecia, the same hair loss that happens in humans. When they do, you see how truly strong they look. Lon Lake is a saline soda lake located at Lona in Buldhana district, Maharashtra, India. which was created by a meteor impact during the Pleistocene epoch, and it is the only known hypervelocity impact crater in basaltic rock anywhere on Earth. Silver 1 rupee coin from British India, 1890. Crescent moon composite made with my cheap 4-inch telescope and smartphone. You've seen them moving an entire block to make space for a road in Romania. Here they were moving a church behind taller blocks to be hidden from sight and avoid demolition by the dictator Ceausescu. 12 churches have been saved this way. Mammoth ivory female figurine, the Venus of Hohlefels, Upper Paleolithic period, Aurignacian culture, circa 40,000 to 35,000 BP. Found in 2008 in Hohlefels Cave, Baden-Württemberg, Germany. Height 5.97 centimeters. Urgeschichtliches Museum Blauburen, Baden-Württemberg, Germany. This copy of Uncle Tom's Cabin from 1893. It belongs to my nana. I pointed my telescope at the Andromeda galaxy and unveiled these spectacular clouds of hydrogen gas. Nature instead of fences and soldiers. The former border between East and West Germany is now 1,393 kilometers, 870 miles, long nature reserve, German Green Belt. There is a grassroots movement to expand it all the way alongside the former Iron Curtain, European Green Belt. The Allegory of Divine Providence and Barberini Power, a fresco by Italian painter Pietro da Cortona, filling the large ceiling of the Grand Salon of the Palazzo Barberini in Rome, Italy, begun in 1633 and completed in 1639. Ultra-thin section of an ingenious rock called gabbro under microscope. English strongman Eddie the Beast Hall at 16 years old. The dimensions of the new RTX 4090 graphics card compared to the Xbox Series S. Bab Hidaya, the vegetarian crocodile guardian of a temple in Kerala, dies at 70+ years of age. The devil's hole pupfish are an endemic species that only live in one small water-filled cavern that is 500+ feet deep, 72 feet long, and 11.5 foot wide. Only about 100 are left. Mammoth ivory figurine, the Lion Man, Upper Paleolithic period, Aurignacian culture, circa 40,000 to 35,000 BP. Found in 1939 and 2009 in Hallensteinstadel Cave, Lone Valley, Germany. Height 31.1 centimeters, width 5.6 centimeters, thickness 5.9 centimeters, greater than 300 fragments. Ulmer Museum, Ulm, Baden-Württemberg, Germany. Skull of the Bork Rock, Caprocitus saharicus, from the Cretaceous of North Africa. Inside a modern Steinway grand piano. Skull of Purosaurus bratalensis, outer, compared to a modern caiman. The barometer app on my phone recorded the changes in cabin pressure during my transatlantic flight. Confusing time zone map of Oceania. Excepts from Vort's practical character reader, absurd vintage phrenology diagrams from 1902 that claimed to reveal which head shapes indicated personality traits. Front view of an honest head and face. The Chinese city of Chongqing, extreme flood and drought just 1 year apart. During the mid-1800s, the gauge wars happened in England. People couldn't decide whether engines should be broad gauge or narrow gauge, now called standard gauge. This cartoon shows how it was like back then. The broad gauge and the narrow gauge. Ancient Roman panel shows a lapdog with inscription written, "For my dear Metilianus, Lucius Novius Aprilis maid." North Myrtle Beach, picture of hunter's moon through binoculars. 5 Stages of Inebriation by Charles Percy Pickering. The shoot, which coincided with the Drunkard Punishment Bill of 1886 in New South Wales, may have been commissioned by a local temperance group for education purposes. Akasha, Queen of All Who Are Damned. Hand carved into living pumpkin 2022. Long before Boring Company's Prufrock there was the drilling jumbo, invented during the construction of the Hoover Dam. Its purpose was to drill the 4 tunnels used to divert the Colorado River. While the dam was built, it allowed up to 30 miners to simultaneously drill the canyon walls. Saw the SpaceX launch from our cruise ship leaving out of Canaveral yesterday. In 1972, Tracy II, DSV-1, undertook a secret joint CIA/US Navy mission to recover a film canister ejected from a KH-9 hexagon spy satellite which sunk 16,400 feet in the Pacific Ocean when its re-entry parachute failed. This would be the deepest underwater salvage operation undertaken at the time. Re Mussolini statue, portraying Mussolini as a statue in 1932. Swedish banknote from 1845. Part of it translates, "Anyone who forges this bill will be hung." Satellite imagery showing radar interference patterns indicating active military radar systems at several notable sites. The Temple of Diana. Despite its name, this temple was dedicated to the worship of Rome and the Emperor. It is the only religious building from Roman times that is preserved in Merida. It is a pyramidal temple, surrounded by columns, and hexa-style, 6 columns in front, with a rectangular floor. Bronze mask with protruding eyes. Unknown Shang Dynasty circa 1600 to 1046 BC. Width 138 centimeters, height 66 centimeters. Found in 1986 in the pit number 2. Sangsingdu Museum, Sangsingdu, Guanghan City, Sichuan Province, China. This ambush bug I photographed looks like a monster out of a sci-fi movie. Airborne sunrise over the wing of my plane ride this morning.